Hello, this is Hayley Crusher Kane, and you're listening to Crusher Talk with Hayley. I'm eating some delicious ripe cherries. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying some sort of seasonal fruit. Cherries are one of my favorites and something that is kind of expensive back in California. So, the fact that you can get cherries so cheaply here just kind of feels illegal. Um, just wanted to come on and say hello. I just got back from the gym. I've been weightlifting on and off for the past 2.5 years or so. And I had the funniest experience walking back into the women's locker room. I work out at a community center here in Detroit that is shared by students and whatnot. During the summer, there's less kids, obviously, there. But on the front of the women's locker room door, it said, "Please do not walk around naked at all, and like be clothed as much as you possibly can be," which I just thought was so interesting, um, and such. I mean, living in a predominantly Muslim community, that's probably part of it, but also it just feels like such an American thing, such a puritanical thing. Um, I'll post a picture of it. I just thought it was funny. It's like the women's locker room, but don't be naked. Um, what else? Detroit's Little Village opened recently in the East Village area. It's a really cool spot. It's an old church, a giant old church um, that is now. I guess it was called the Shepherd, and now it's also called the Shepherd. But it's an arts and community space. So. Although outside of it looks like a regular giant, I guess not a cathedral, but I mean, it's huge. It's a huge towering church with big, you know, spires and steeples. And you'll have to look it up or I'll post a picture of it. But it's an incredible um, view from the outside. But then when you walk in now, there's, they've done the walls white. They have these gallery spaces and they have a community library inside of it. And then also on the grounds, they have public art spaces and arts, like sculptures out there. They have a wine bar called Father May I, which is made out of some like reclaimed pews and different physical elements from the church, which I thought was kind of cool. They have some great NA options as well. And then there's a boutique hotel as part of it and a skate park designed in part by Tony Hawk. Apparently Tony Hawk's wife is a Detroit native. So I thought that was really interesting. And the grounds are it was a New York design company that put this whole thing together as its own sort of neighborhood village situation. Basically, what was I saying? Oh, the way that the landscaping is done, it's got all sorts of native flowers, so there's lots of pollinators, and as you're walking around, there's like sort of a like loose gravel, like you're kind of walking around, or like a DG, decomposed granite, and there's different colored little pieces of glass that are like ground down and smooth. So as you're walking through, it'll change from blue to purple to yellow. It's really just really whimsical and beautiful. On their website, they say in a let's face it disheartening time, visit Little Village, a vibrant and radically ambitious new arts campus in Detroit. It's a welcome, uplifting antidote. It's a place that grows deeply out of the past but feels a lot like the future, one that celebrates art and its power to help build community even more. That was a quote from Metropolis magazine. Sorry, I can't read today apparently. But yeah, Detroit never fails to amaze me. Every little nook and cranny used to be something else, and then it's repurposed. Even the dog park that we like to go to was once a bank, and there's a great art space called Signal Return over there that used to be a bakery. So just very interesting. I thought I would share that for you guys, especially those of you who, maybe have never been to Detroit. I don't know. I think it's fun to hear about these new developments, and it's nice to know that there's always people on the lookout for how they can not only change spaces to be more usable for the community, but making things free. Like the gallery is free. You can hang out there. The grounds are never locked. So my friend and I went recently and had like a little picnic there, and we were able to just kind of enjoy the space. And in life and in big cities, that's not very common. So very much enjoyed that. I recently read the audiobook, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Sometimes Mel Robbins can be a little bit simplified. I mentioned her last time. She has a method of getting out of bed when she's feeling unmotivated. And I think that the genius in what she does is that she has a simple storytelling style. She has a simple writing style. So although that sometimes, like, it's kind of boring to me a little bit sometimes the way that she puts things, I like a little bit more of like a weirder delivery, I guess, or more poetic delivery. The general gist of what she's talking about is usually pretty right on, at least in my opinion. And I think the Let Them Theory is a really great book, not just for, personal tranquility and peace and being in control of your own life and knowing that you can't control others, and for people that are codependent, but also just in these times that are so turbulent and chaotic and the news is so crazy. It's sort of like a way to rebalance and reground, even as you may be taking on steps or efforts to change the greater world outside. I think in order to change the world in a positive way, you have to first accept the reality of what is, and that starts with you. So I think it's a good book for right now. So I am recommending that to you guys. Lately, we've done a few shows where some surprisingly nice things have happened. A really cool group of young, hip Gen Z people, God, I sound old, showed up to my punk rock prom in the spring. And then they came again to, actually the prom queen herself came again to a show we did recently in Detroit. And her and her friends brought me some little heart-shaped glasses that they thought would be good for my stage outfit. And they worked perfectly. It was really cute. And we showed up to our show in Indianapolis at the Melody Inn over the weekend, and there was this lovely pink-haired gentleman. I don't want to talk about anyone's names because I feel like that's crossing a line in terms of privacy. But he had been at all the Screeching Weasel shows back in March and was like the first, like right up front, the guy pumping his fist, all excited, like really bringing the energy. Every event needs at least, 10 of these people to get the crowd going and just to create more excitement and to like spur people on, give them permission to be excited. And this person is that to a T. That's pretty much his entire essence. But he was showing up. He showed up outside the venue for our show, and he had a picture developed, and he showed it to me. And it was a selfie that I took on stage at, I think, night 2 of Screeching Weasel in Chicago. And I'm all smiles, crowd's all crazy, and I remember I'd asked the crowd, I'm like, I'm just so happy to be here. Could I take a picture? Like, I felt kind of embarrassed and stupid doing it, but it was such an incredible moment. Like, I was just so excited to be there. I really just wanted to capture it in some way. And it's a great photo. I mean, it turned out really good. But this guy was like he's like, look, I got it developed so you can sign it. And I was just like, what is life? What is life? That is very, very nice. And I think a lot of times for myself, and I know this is not a me thing, it's universal, we tend to gloss over the positive or exciting things that happen and just kind of go to the next thing, or think or downplay it or whatever, depending on, how you were raised in your family of origin and how supportive people might have been in terms of like talking about things that excited you or like made you feel good. You may not want to really talk about it, and these last few years I've gotten pretty good at like actually taking a moment and going, you know what, like savoring this is a good moment. And I just thought he was the embodiment of that, and it was just cool to see that just manifested, in real life. I thought that was really sweet. As a band, we've been recording. We've been doing some new demos, and we've actually laid down drum tracks for, I think, 2 songs. No, 3 or 4 songs. Did we do 4 or did we do 2? I can't remember exactly how many. It always feels like more because, it's very tedious. But our drummer, Gabe, did a great job. We have that. And we're going to be meeting tomorrow to do some guitar work. And I know that Dr. Reed Kane, Esquire, who is very good at sitting and just sitting for hours and just figuring out his parts at home, is going to be working on finding his parts. And it's been cool to, like, Unsubscribe was a merger of LA Kitten Robot Studios, Paul Rossler, high production value vocals and mixing, and actually just his sensibility, I guess, was also part of it. And then a mix of that and recording here in Detroit at our guitarist Ryan's basement. So it was like a nice mix of those 2 worlds. And I think it came through in the music. And we really liked that it felt raw, real, lively. That's what you want, right? But also had the production value that we shoot for. So this time around, I'm not really sure if I'll make it to LA to do vocals. So we're thinking about where I might do vocals, if I might record them here in Detroit, in the basement, possibly. I'm notoriously a little bit quirky when it comes to like what I need in my vocals experience. It's a energetic thing because, the lyrics, it's like a balloon that you inflate. Like there has to be the emotion to bring into the lyrics. And if you are worrying about your headphones and you can't hear yourself correctly, or the mix is weird as you're recording, you're not necessarily, it's almost like you're distracted. That's kind of why it's kind of important to be finicky, I guess, when it comes to vocals, because you do want to be able to have that freedom to go there and to go to places that the song is taking you, and to try to do your best to bring the concept to life, because that's what we're all here to do. So we'll see what happens with that, but I am excited about a new, new challenges. Like, how will we do this? And how will we be creative in figuring this out? Always on a budget, always trying to do it our way. So that'll be interesting to see what exactly comes from that. We do have some upcoming shows. We have Thursday, August 14th, Friday, August 15th, and Saturday, August 16th. And we'll be in the Ohio, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and also Warrendale, Pennsylvania areas for those shows with Screeching Weasel. And we are preparing for that. So I think there are tickets available for at least 2, or I believe there's tickets for all available, but I know that one of them I think is getting fuller. So if you do want tickets, do go and grab them. What else? We have some new shirts that have been going over pretty well. We did a run. So if you guys have the shirts, they're just like crack. They're just great. They're just buttery soft. They get better as you wash them. We've really like keyed into like what people want and like their favorite t-shirt. Like I hear so often like, oh, your shark shirt is my favorite t-shirt. And we really, as a t-shirt company that plays music sometimes, like we want to make sure that we're always doing good quality. And we're working on launching a expanded Shopify site that has way more options, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, because what I wanted to say is part of that quality is, we control the material, we control who we have screen print it, and then if things are wrong, we have them screen print it again. There's been situations where something is off and we have to redo it. Because we have a certain level that we're expecting and that we know works, and we don't want to give you guys a shitty t-shirt. So we have been experimenting with some print-on-demand stuff, which notoriously has been horrible. We've had very bad experiences with print on demand, and then we've had very good experiences with our friend Raymond from punkrockarmy.net. They do a lot of merch for drag queens and Josie Cotton, and they did some mugs for us, and now some full color McCracken shirts and stuff. And so that was our first foray into working with somebody who is not doing like quote unquote screen printing. It's like a different technology altogether. But the quality was so good, and those shirts sold so quickly during the spring weasel dates that we were like, okay, like let's explore this more. We'd heard about, you know, print on demand being better and better, technology getting better and better, and the ability to have multiple colors and to not feel like you have to charge $50 because nobody wants to spend more than 25, $30 on a shirt, right? So we were able to get some testers and really hone in on a couple new designs. And I have to say, they feel amazing. They look amazing. It's not exactly the same as the screen printing, technique, but these are not like chunky. They're not falling apart. We've washed, like when we test them, we wash and dry them and stuff. And we're like, damn, these shirts look amazing. Like they're bright, they're vibrant, they're soft. Like they look so good. And so we have the Medusa, which is like pretty much, I mean, a lot of those sizes are gone now, and we have to actually re-up on those. It's a really cool design that we had a friend of ours do. I'll link to that artist. And they're on Instagram. And we also did some more of the full color McCracken, like I was saying, the lobster lady with the mermaid tails. And we were really like stoked that they turned out good, and people are liking them, and they're really great quality. And now that we know how we're going to do this moving forward, we're gonna launch this expanded Shopify site merch store that is going to allow people to actually choose colors, sizes. Will have certain parameters around what you can choose, but like there'll be a larger range, and I think that'll be really cool. It'll be more inclusive and just allow you to be more creative. There'll be more options, so that's really exciting. We have this site like pretty much ready to go. I just have to kind of finalize a few things, so it's exciting. But if you do want a Medusa shirt and you haven't gotten one already, I feel like the sizes are really limited. You can check the Bandcamp store and hopefully you grab one, but we will re-up those. We're going to get more. Also, we re-upped our pink sharks, our shark t-shirts with the pink tee and the red ink. Those are screen printed locally by Knockout Screen Printing. Our friend Karen does those and does an incredible job. So we have a new box of those because the pink went really fast. So if you like the pink, they are also available. And yeah, that's kind of what's going on over here. Gidget is acclimating to her new home, our new puppy. And I've been working on producing more Sparkle and Destroy podcasts. We just did another one a couple days ago, so I'm going to edit that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that I threw that in the feed. I just thought, I just assume everybody's getting so many emails and pings and blah, 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 blah every day. Why not just throw it in there so that it's, unmissable? But it is a different thing. It's me and my friend Danielle, like chatting about all things, and, might be too vague and too broad for some people, and that's totally fine. I'm still going to continue to come on here and check in here and there. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys at the shows, and if I don't see you at the shows, I'll see you on the internet. Until then, sparkle hard. Have a great rest of July. Bye.